common misconception many students have is the reason behind our seasons. When asked why it is warmer in the summer than in the winter, a lot of students will respond with because the earth is closer to the sun. The reasoning behind this is that the sun is very hot, so when we are closer to the sun, the weather is warmer, like in summer. The truth, however, is it's not about the distance between the Earth and the Sun, but rather the tilt of Earth's axis. So Earth is tilted on an axis like you see here in the picture. And when the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, that's in December, so that's when we have our winter. And then in June, the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, which is why it is summer. So for a lesson for students to discover this, the lesson I found really does focus on discovery learning and not just providing the information. So a lot of what our readings talked about. It uses a globe and a flashlight to simulate the earth and the sun and observes the shadows of a Lego man on the globe during the different seasons. So for this you need a globe, some putty, a Lego figurine, a flashlight, stack of books, and a measuring tape, flexible measuring tape. So for the introduction, what you do is you note observations about the globe first. A lot of students don't even look at globes anymore. You might have to go find one. Not every classroom has a globe anymore. So guiding your students with questions, getting them to notice that the globe is tilted and that the earth is tilted. Find your state, put the Lego man on it, and then place the flashlight on top of books so the light shines directly on the middle of the globe like you see in the picture. And then for each of the seasons, you're going to simulate them. So in winter, you spin the globe so the tilt points away from the flashlight and that the figurine is facing the flashlight, and summer is the opposite. And then students observe and measure the Lego man's shadow and record observations in the length. That's where the measuring tape comes in. And then the follow-up questions, I really liked these follow-up questions from the lesson. It starts very simple with just which season is the coldest and which is the warmest from your own personal experience. So, all students can do that. And then from your measurements, which season has the longest shadows? Which one has the shortest? So again, that's just an observation they made. And then kind of gets a little more complex into the conceptual understanding. How does the tilt of the globe affect the length of the figurine's shadow? So it brings in the tilt, and it even says you can ask them, think about how the length of the shadows would change if there was no tilt or there was a more extreme tilt. And then it does have them come up with a new understanding of what causes the seasons. And the last question really does gauge their conceptual understanding by connecting this content in this lesson to a different question. And so it's asking them to describe how shadows of real objects would change throughout the year. So in winter and in summer, a shadow of a flagpole, what is that going to be? You could even lead into, you could actually measure something, the shadow of something throughout the year, and really make this a year-long thing with your students. And there are the resources for the images and for the lesson, which will also be attached.